Hey Cindy, I'm
Hi.
so glad that you took some time here in the summer to meet with me, and I appreciate that John, your husband, the principal, was able to give us some space in his building so that we have air conditioning. So that's
Yes,
always a
it
nice
is a
thing.
delight.
I wonder if you might tell me a little bit about yourself so myself as well as the listeners can get to know you.
My name is Cindy Martin. I was born and raised in South Kansas City.
Oh,
Went to college in Liberty at William Jewell. Got my degree in elementary music ed, and that's what I've been doing for 40 years. Taught for 30 years in the state of Texas. And then 10 years ago, we moved back here to be with our moms that were both widows. And I have 4 children, and I have been married for 40 years. I don't
well, my
know.
gosh, you've been a long-term educator.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Of course, I know you a little bit for many reasons. Of course, your breast cancer, but also because you are at Indian Creek Elementary, which years ago I was the principal and actually opened up Indian Creek Elementary.
That's what I heard.
And that lovely connection
I
there.
know.
Yeah.
And you taught music as well.
And I taught music
I
as well.
know.
Oh my gosh, great connections. Well, I wonder if you might tell us, Cindy, a little bit about your initial breast cancer journey. Diagnosis, treatment, what kind you had, and all that kind of stuff.
So my journey with breast cancer, my sister was actually young. She's younger than me, and she was diagnosed about 6 years before me. It was found in a routine mammogram, barely stage 1, had a lumpectomy, and I'm like, that's just my sister. Everything happened to my sister. And there's no history in our family.
No.
I moved back to Kansas City in July of 2014, and then in April of 2015, still in my first year of teaching, just in the shower one day, felt something. I thought it almost felt like like a muscle twist. So I was like, I don't know what this is, but I was like, I probably need to get it checked out. So I did. And was told we do suspect that it's breast cancer, and it is just like surreal.
Yeah.
You can't, everybody knows you can get it, but you just don't think you will. And I felt great.
Yeah. Wasn't anything
No,
that.
I
Yeah.
was tired. In hindsight, I did have a pretty high fatigue level, but I was also in my early 50s, and I thought, maybe that's the way we
Yeah,
feel.
Yeah. And of course, you were teaching and
Yes.
family and 4 kids. You had
Yeah.
so many things that
So-
could impinge upon that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Had you been a regular mammogram?
I had been. I will admit that my last couple of years in Texas, I didn't go. I got I wasn't happy with my doctor, and I was like, I'm going to quit doing all this preventative stuff. I just felt like all I did was go to doctors. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. So I had to deal with that guilt that if I had done what I knew I should be doing, I wouldn't be where I am.
Yeah. Catch that early.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for sharing your initial breast cancer journey. And now we're going to take a little bit of a switch into another stage of your breast cancer journey when you found out that you had metastatic breast cancer.
Yeah. So initially, I was diagnosed with barely stage 2. So I thought, okay, this is just going to be a bad summer, and then it's going to be behind me. And I was diagnosed with HR positive, HER2 negative is what I have. So when I went in for my very first round of chemo, my doctor called me back, and he said, I just see something on your liver I don't like. So he said, I've been looking at your labs, and he said, I was like, well, she just had surgery, maybe, but he goes, I just need to know. So we ordered a PET scan. They put a hold on my chemo that day. They did a PET scan, and in fact, it was on my liver. And that was the sucker punch for me. I was devastated.
Yeah.
And they're using words like, there's no cure. My daughter was supposed to be getting married, and that was in like September. Well, it was around Labor Day. My daughter was supposed to be getting married the following February, and I was like, am I going to be here for her wedding? I mean, it's just, it becomes a mortality issue for you at that point when you know it's stage 4.
So really, you were in stage 2, thought this is going to be pretty routine, not wonderful, but at least routine. You were just doing chemotherapy. Had you had surgery at that point?
I actually had surgery because they thought it was just stage 2.
Yeah.
So I had the mastectomy on my birthday, July 1st. And then when I recovered from that, I was supposed to start my chemo. But like I said, I never even started that chemo.
Yeah.
Because my doctor was like, I want to check this out before we do this.
Well, I guess there's the good thing, but boy, it sounds like getting that news was very depressing.
It was. It really took the wind out of me because then it really, to me, it became, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
That's just the way I was like, I'm going to die. And it's amazing how you have to face that. We all know we're going to die.
Yeah.
But
we don't want to make it too soon, though.
Yeah. And it's like I had the feeling I had was like I was telling people I'm not afraid to die, but it's like you're at a party and you don't want to go home yet, and that's the way I felt. I'm like I don't want to do this. I'm not ready.
And when you got the news, were you by yourself?
Oh no. My husband literally went to everything with me. One of my boys happened to be staying with us, and he is hilarious. And so he helped me a lot. He actually was at that appointment as well. And I will tell you, my husband and my son, when I went to have my that initial mammogram to see what that lump was, they both showed up there. They were in the waiting room when I came out, and they surprised me, and I was glad because it wasn't good news.
Yeah. So nice to have that kind of there. Well, thank you very much for sharing a difficult story that you and so many other women are going through. I think the statistics are just terrible.
They're staggering.
For metastatic breast cancer. Breast cancer is bad enough, but then to get this kind of news, when you look at, now we're at stage 4. Now we're at what many people say is incurable.
Yeah.
And so that is just a frightening. I just can't imagine what it was like to go through that.
Yeah.
So we really appreciate you sharing a little
You're
bit
welcome.
of that, George.